Welcome to the Ocean Community 50 Under 50 series, presented by the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce. The road to success starts at Valenti Family of Auto Dealerships, and visibility along the journey increases greatly with the help of 321 Media. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Under 50, brought to you by, of course, the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce and sponsored by Valenti Family of Dealerships and 321 Media. My name is Ben Barber from 321. Welcome to 50 Under 50. Today, I am very excited. It's my most exciting episodes are when there is an honoree across from me who I do not know. And today, we have a very special one. Mari Kodama. Austin, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So we were just going back and forth about your bio a little bit. Let me read this. This is actually a bio from No Inc. Community Support Services, which we'll get to in the conversation in a minute. But Mari Kodama Austin works as part of JTK Management Restaurant Group and is the general manager of their Breakwater location, which is that true? General manager of all three or
no,
Breakwater?
General manager of Breakwater.
Okay, which is located in the Stonington borough, born and raised in North Stonington. Mari graduated from Norwich Free Academy and went to pursue a degree in business economics and Asian American studies at the University of California, Santa Barbara. That sounds fun. She returned to the area in 2010 when she joined the board of the No Inc. Community Support Services, and since then has been actively engaged in various local community nonprofits, including the Regional Multicultural Magnet School Foundation and the Mystic Museum of Art. I love the Mystic Museum of Art.
Wonderful.
Mari currently resides in North Stonington with her husband Mark and their two children, Grayson and Leilani.
Mm-hmm.
With their two active pups, Emil and Walter.
Emil and Walter.
And Walter. Okay. My cousin's middle name is Leilani.
Really?
That's how I nailed that pronunciation.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got that one right on the nail.
Yeah, that's the full extent of Hawaiian, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mari, tell me about yourself. That's a lot of stuff. So you're also the chef at Breakwater.
I am.
GM and chef.
Yes.
I feel like that's a duo that you don't get a lot.
So I am actively involved with all the locations. I opened up Breakwater. This is actually our 10th year open, 10th summer. So it's crazy to think that happened so quickly. And I was just having this conversation. It's also crazy to think that 5 years ago was COVID, that halfway since our beginning was COVID, and it's been that long since then as well. Yep. But so I've been actively involved with the Breakwater location, and in 2019, I became more active in the kitchen, and I have a great team of kitchen managers and kitchen staff and front of the house management. But I oversee a little bit of both. And it kind of depends on what's necessary in the summer versus the off season, and kind of navigating through all that.
That makes sense. What is the now? Are you guys open year round at Breakwater?
Open year round.
Okay.
In the off season, we close Mondays and Tuesdays. Right now, we're open 7 days a week.
Awesome.
And seasonally, we have a large outdoor patio, which June has not been that cooperative for us yet.
No, but hopefully July will be. It's already getting a little bit better. We had a hot week this week.
Yes.
When did you get into, because you went to school for business economics.
Mm-hmm.
So that explains the GM part, but chef.
Love of cooking.
Okay. Well, I would hope.
I was involved. It's a family business, so I was involved in the restaurant group when I was young. My first job was behind the sushi bar Go Fish under my uncle. He was teaching me the ropes there. Was worked locally in the restaurant group until I went away to school. When I was in school, I found myself in the restaurant business to make some money while I was in school. Stayed out there in California for a couple years after graduation, and then returned in 2010 to get licensed as a financial advisor.
Mhm.
And I was a financial advisor with Morgan Stanley and Wells Fargo, and then decided to come back into the fold of the restaurant business. And here I am.
How did you like being a financial advisor? That's a completely different vibe from running restaurants
Yep.
and being in the kitchen.
So, I mean, I loved it. I think it was a great opportunity. It was a great learning experience. The process of becoming licensed and learning that, whole sphere, I think was a great foundational. There was a lot of things that I really enjoyed about it. I mean, it is definitely a very, interactive and personal field. But I miss some of the moving around and the other components of the hospitality industry. And so when there was a need in the family business, I came on board and have been there since.
I love that. What is your favorite part about your job at Breakwater and within the restaurant group?
I mean, I think that's hard because I feel
You
like
wear a lot of hats.
Anybody who works in a restaurant understands that you wear a lot of hats. I had one of my managers who was with me from the time he was 16 left, and he moved to Florida, and he said, I don't know what it's going to be like to have a job where you do the same thing every day, because you could walk in and putting out fires and learning
sometimes
new things.
literally.
But I think what I like about the hospitality industry and the restaurant industry is that almost always it's a gathering and celebration of people. So if you are going out to eat, a lot of times you're celebrating, you're traveling, you're just, I'm going to treat myself. I don't feel like cooking. And you have, so you go out and you want to have an enjoyable experience.
Of course.
There's there's weddings and rehearsal dinners and celebrations of that sort, family celebrations, celebrations of life where, you're grieving, but you're also celebrating. And I think that kind of the industry is one that you're around people in a lot of these important times. And I think that's something that draws me in.
This is so like lame, I think, on my part to mention this, but because I like am such a I've only worked I worked one day in a pizza place as a delivery driver, as a fill-in for somebody, and then I worked at Subway for years. So very different vibes. But I was watching The Bear last night, the new season of The Bear that just dropped, and the first episode of the first episode of the season 4 of The Bear starts with the main character, Carmi, explaining in a flashback to his brother about why restaurants are so important. And it's literally like all of our best moments, all of our celebrations, when we went to grieve, all of these things, they all happen inside restaurants. You're never alone when you're in a restaurant. You're with other people. It's a place for enjoyment. It's exactly what you just explained in like the biggest television show in the world
and
right now.
Food in general when you gather, I think that whether you're in a restaurant, whether you're in your home, whether you're in some sort of community event, you're gathering around food, and I think that plays a huge part. And so I think that's something that's always drawn me to it as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what made you want to start the Breakwater?
So it's an incredible location.
Yes.
Honestly, I didn't spend as much time growing up in Stonington borough area as I did in Mystic or Westerly.
Sure.
Kind of like a tucked away gem. When the location became available initially in 2013, we were up to our necks in a renovation at Dock and Dine restaurant in Old Saybrook.
Yep.
We got hit in 2011 by Hurricane Irene, Took 300
Oh my
and
God, I forgot about Irene.
Yeah, took 362 days for us to reopen. Basically, destroyed the property, and then you're fighting with insurance and zoning in town. I mean, not just trying to get everything in order to be able to reopen. Finally, did it. Basically, had like completely renovated the interior, and including electrical and all that. And then 63 days from our reopening date, Hurricane Sandy knocked us out again, which nobody saw coming. And then once we finally realized that it was going to hit us again, still nobody thought it was going to be the same kind of damage that we
No.
sustained in that specific location.
And of course, that was like, there's a reason why it's Superstorm.
Right, exactly. It was like and in that location, it was like the perfect combination. And so we had reopened after Sandy with sort of a temporarily for the season open air outdoor deck where basically we had to knock down that portion of the building with the plans to reopen hopefully pretty quickly at the new elevation, which the new requirement was, I think at that time, 15 and a half feet above the high water mark, which as you can imagine is very high in the air.
Yeah.
So we were in the process. I mean, there was no way we could have in that moment taken on another project in a similar, seasonal indoor outdoor kind of location.
Yep.
And then it was just in the cards that the restaurant that was there decided that it wasn't necessarily going to work for them, and so it became available a second time. At which point we weren't yet back open at Dock and Dine. We still are not back open at Dock and Dine, but so the opportunity was there, and so it felt like it was kind of perfect timing for us to put our efforts there. And like I said, it's hard to believe it's been 10 years.
Yeah. So tell me about, because I did not know that Go Fish and Steak Loft and Breakwater were together. Steak Loft is a classic favorite. Yeah. I mean, I have so many memories at Steak Loft for over the years. Have they always been connected, Go Fish and Steak Loft, before Breakwater?
So Steak Loft opened in 1973. So we just celebrated 50 years in 2023. And my father was actually an opening manager of that location.
Okay.
And then ended up, purchasing ownership from the original owners.
Right.
So he's been involved in that location since 1973. And through the years, the restaurant group has grown and shrunk and grown and done different ventures, different restaurants, different locations. Dock and Dine opened, I want to say, in 1987, and we were there straight through until we knocked down the building, and we're still working on a plan for that location. Go Fish opened in 1996.
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
I think that's right. That's when I remember going.
Yeah. And then has had a couple of different renovations in this original space, and then has opened up in about a year and a half ago in our new location, which is in Stonington on Old Stonington Road. So new property, complete renovation, more so than we had originally anticipated, which delayed the renovations and the reopening originally, but essentially is a new building, new location at that space. So we're very excited to be there as well.
Awesome. What was the first restaurant that you remember working in?
Working in?
Yeah.
Dead-Eye Dick's.
Okay.
So we operated Dead-Eye Dick's for quite some time. Our last season was 2008. But I remember Dead-Eye Dick's is also a seasonal location, which is compounded by the fact that it's on an island. And so the and closed in the off season. So as opposed to Breakwater, which is open just in a different footprint, Deadeye Dick's was open just from essentially Memorial Day to Labor Day, a little after Labor Day. And
Awesome.
so in the beginning and at the end of the season, the shoulder seasons, you're always short. And so I remember going out there with my father when I was very young and, you know, keeping busy out, helping somebody in the kitchen or somebody in the front of the house and just loved that experience. So I
Right.
think from an early age, I was around it. And then also my parents are both very involved in the community. And I was involved with a lot of sort of catering type events, whether it was for a funeral or memorial service or for a nonprofit organization. So I was kind of involved in it in that capacity as well from a young age. But I'd say Deadeye Dick's was the first restaurant I really remember helping in.
I don't remember Deadeye Dick's. I wish I did.
So it's still open out
okay.
there. Yeah. So it's and it was open before we were there as well. And so it's over by Payne's Dock on that side of the island.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you what is the food at Breakwater is fantastic, by the way. Big fans for the last God, it's only been there 10 years.
Yeah.
Really?
2015, just before Memorial Day, 2015.
Oh my God. I'm getting so old. I'm like, that opened like 3 years ago,
Yeah,
right? I
know,
completely
it's crazy.
forgot. And obviously the pandemic messed up everyone's sense of time and everything else. What sort of care went into now you have your own, you can set everything up the way that you want it, you can make the menu that you want. Like what went into the design of what you wanted the menu to be and the restaurant to be and all of that stuff?
So Breakwater is interesting in that our menu, so because I always tell people we're almost two different restaurants in the summer and in the winter. In the summer, our menu is larger and doesn't change as much during, sort of peak summer. And then we have daily specials. In the off season, we have a smaller all day menu. And then we have a special menu that changes every couple of weeks, if not more frequently than that. And so I think what I love about that is the ability to constantly be changing and trying out new things and, getting very creative in that aspect. We also do a lot of, and in the last couple of years, we haven't done as many just because pandemic stopped it. Go Fish was closed, and so we were doing Go Fish pop-ups in the off season at Breakwater. But we just got back into the swing of it this last year. Sip and savor dinners, so wine dinners where we feature a region or a type of wine or a type of food, and are able to get really creative in that aspect. For example, if we do a French dinner and then incorporate those flavors and those menu items into our menus in the winter. So I think that's the exciting part about Breakwater.
Yeah, you almost just made me say I can't wait for winter, which I'm going to take back. I'm going to step back on that a little bit. But
if it was 2 days ago, maybe we're all thinking about that a little bit.
I was just thinking about pool and air conditioning.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about NOANC, the community support services. How'd you get involved? And right when you came back home?
Yeah. So I knew a couple of people who were actively involved in NOANC community support services, and I was connected through John Paul Morales, who I worked with at Morgan Stanley and Wells Fargo, and they were looking for people to become involved, to join the board, and I was looking to become more so involved in the community. As I said, I had been when I was younger, when I was out in California, in school, peripherally assisting in different things, but not in the same way that I was when I was living in Connecticut. And I was ready to get involved. And I, at that time I wasn't married. I didn't have children. I didn't have a lot of responsibilities other than myself. So I wanted to get involved, and really just fell in love with the organization in general, and have been on the board ever since, in a couple of different capacities. But it's just such a wonderful organization that's had a huge impact. And we just celebrated our 50th, or Knowing celebrated their 50th anniversary as well, in 2022. So it was really exciting to be a part of really the last 15 years of that.
That's awesome. That's got to be special. Anytime you can give back, that makes a world of difference. You also spend your time with the Regional Multicultural Magnet School Foundation.
Yep.
How'd you get involved with that?
So I went to the Regional Multicultural Magnet School,
Okay.
which was the original magnet school, like, of the area. I went in New London. I was at the old Buckley School originally, then it renovated and still in that location, but the physical property is so different.
Right.
But I was my brother and I were the two of the earliest students to join. And when we were there, the building, like, we were on the first floor of the building. The next year, when they needed more space, they went into the second floor of the building, and so on and so forth. So I was the second graduating class it was just an elementary school of that school. And then when I was back in the area, they were reaching out to alums and looking for people to become involved. And the Magnet School Foundation essentially raised money to fund projects and field trips and experiences that fell outside of the budget of the actual school system. So it was really neat to be able to do those kinds of things, support the teachers and support the students, and find ways for them to get different experiences as well.
And then the music, little tongue-tied there, the Mystic Museum of Art.
Yeah.
I almost got tongue-tied again looking at it. I know, Mystic Museum of Art.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I was very much involved. My father was very much involved in the Mystic, at that time, Mystic Art Association.
Mm-hmm.
And he had been on the board, and we had the restaurant group over the years has really partnered with a few different local organizations, and have committed to hosting or donating food and staffing and so forth for fundraising events. So I feel like I spent a lot of time there when I was younger, and loved and knew the space very well. And then a couple of the board members at the time had spoken to me, and asked me, when your father rotates off the board, we're going to come have a conversation, and we'd like you to come on board. So I did do that. And I was very into art as a child, still am. I don't have as much free time now as I once did. But I spent a lot of time there. I love the cultural aspect of it. It's in such a beautiful location.
Yeah.
They have some great exhibits coming up, as the transition to the Mystic Museum of Art and kind of what they're doing there. I think it's been really incredible. So,
Art After Dark is one of my favorite events ever.
Yeah. And it's just such a beautiful property in the backyard and along the river and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I asked my now very long-term girlfriend, when I asked her out on our first date, I was like, I have an idea. Like, we can go get sandwiches. We can go to the Mystic Museum of Art and then get sandwiches. And then there's there's beautiful seating on the water, so we can go do that. And Mystic Museum of Art is beautiful.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, why don't we go somewhere in town? I was like, all right, fine. But anyway, so, so I love the Mystic Museum of Art so much.
Mhm.
So thank you for all of your work
Oh,
in
thank you.
keeping that such a special place. Um, let's talk about family a little bit. Two
Mhm.
kids, husband.
Yep.
How'd you guys meet?
So we are actually both from North Stonington.
Okay.
Knew each other very little when we were younger. I went to NFA and he went to Wheeler, so we weren't in school together. But North Stonington's a small place, small school. So we had, we overlapped and knew each other a bit at that time, and then reconnected years later. Still had a lot of similar friends, and it was almost kind of crazy that we had never overlapped more than we did. And sort of the rest is history. And that was kind of all a blur. We ended up getting married during COVID, locally on Margin Street Inn. And we were planning in the middle of planning a destination wedding, and the world kind of just shut down. And
Yeah.
we're like, well, let's wait a little while. And then decided, we really didn't know what was going to happen, and when were people going to get comfortable getting on planes again, and all of this. So we decided, let's do it. We're going to do it outside. We're going to do it locally, a little bit smaller than we thought we were going to do it, but
Yeah.
it was perfect. And it just so happened to fall in line that we were kind of last minute able to get a caterer and to get a photographer and to find a space that was work, because so many weddings were on hold at that time.
Yeah.
And then Grayson is about to be 4 in September, which is crazy.
Aw.
And Leilani is just a couple, 6 weeks behind him. She'll be 2. And so they're just living their best life, running around, and it's awesome to see. But she's trying to keep up with him, so she's further along than he was at that age, it seems, of doing things like jumping off places and
Sure.
and a little more wild. So it's been it's interesting, but wouldn't give it up for anything.
Now, I've heard that having one is difficult, having two is twice as hard, or more than having two is like 4 times as hard. So God bless you. And then you have the 2 dogs.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. What do you guys like to do for fun?
So we, love to boat. We have a boat in Poctuck River, so only been out a couple of times so far this year. Just went in the water. I haven't even been on the boat yet this year, but we like going out to Sandy Point. It's perfect for the kids.
Yeah.
The sandbar there, it's shallow. They can, when Grayson was small, he was in a floaty attached to the boat, and we're like standing around him, and it was, perfect.
Oh my God.
Now they're at the age where they like to run around on the sand and all that.
Yeah.
But spend a lot of time with our friends and family out there and locally. We love to host people at our house. Like I said, I think there, take hikes with the pups when we can, travel when we can. A little more challenging with 2 kids and 2 dogs than it was when it was just Mark and I. But keep it interesting.
Yeah, that's great. This camera just went crazy on me. My camera, which doesn't matter at all, but I just was like, and then it just randomly, I don't know, things happened on the computer when I stopped paying attention to it so I could look you in the eye for a while. It went crazy. Anyway, it's fine. I'll edit that
We have
out.
all the equipment out here.
There's a little bit of equipment in this room. It's a little cramped in here with all of the equipment. What did it mean to be one of the 50 under 50? Were you expecting it?
Not at all.
No one knows.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't even remember seeing anything about it happening or about to happen. So I was definitely surprised. I actually think, I received the email first, I guess. And then somebody had very soon after sent me a congratulation text, and I almost didn't know what they were talking about because I don't think I'd actually seen the email yet.
Right.
But, I feel I feel very honored to be one of the recipients. And I think there's so many people in our area and our community that do so much for the community, that you know you think like there's so many other people that should be on here that aren't on the list. But I feel very, very honored to be among so many people that I look up to and I respect. A lot of them I know personally, and it was very humbling to see it.
Any future plans right now for expansion, new restaurants for the group, anything like that?
So we are still working on Old Saybrook project. In the figuring out the best fit for the space over there. It's been since 2013 was our last summer at Elevation 4.5 is what we were calling it. And so we're working with the Old Saybrook town to try to figure out the best opportunity there. And so we hopefully will know a little bit more in the coming weeks and month, and would be very excited to get something off the ground over there because it's been a long time coming.
That's awesome. The I'm just very, it's so nice. My favorite episodes of this, like I said at the beginning, my favorite episodes are when I don't know the person that comes through the door and sits down, because getting to know somebody, not that I don't love talking to the people on the list that I know already, guys who know me, I'm sorry, you're not my favorites. But because in sitting down with somebody for a half hour as we have, you really get to know why this person is so special and one of the honorees for 50 Under 50. And I can obviously see that with you. So it's been really awesome to get to know you for this half hour. Incredibly well-deserved honor for you for getting the 50 Under 50 recognition. Thank you so much for being here, and keep up all of the good work at Breakwater and the rest of the group. And thank you, by the way, because so many great memories of mine have been made at Breakwater and Go Fish and Steak Loft, and there's something really special about restaurants, and the ones that make you feel something and give you the space to have those moments with your friends and family, and all of your restaurants do that.
Well,
so
thank you. That's I love to hear that. I think that's a big part of why we do what we do and why we're in this crazy business for so long. And thank you for your involvement with the chamber and all that you do locally. And the chamber is such a wonderful asset to
chamber's
the
amazing. You can compliment the chamber.
Well, but you and Valenti dealerships, I think that's what makes this part of the community, this part of the state, tri-state area, I guess, so wonderful, is that the number of people who are so actively involved in some capacity or another, who give back, who work together, who kind of feed off each other, that this interwovenness makes it a pretty special place to live in and to be a part of.
Could not agree more. Thank you so much, Mari.
Thank
you for being here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Valenti Family of Dealerships and 321 Media. That second part always feels weird to say for me. And thank you to the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce. This has been 50 Under 50. We'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.